Hello everybody, welcome to WTEWrestleMania32. We are here, we were here about a year ago in our pay-per-view list. We have done a lot of pay-per-views for you guys in the last year. We are finally here at the stage of the mall in WTE history, one of the 4 biggest pay-per-views. Starting with the Royal Rumble, of course, each year. But
it's the 5th man in the Fatal 4-Way.
we're going to determine a number of contender. So we're going to determine a contender for that one and a contender for that one. So there's going to be 6 men in that one, 5 men in that one. Under.
You just have a Fatal 4-Way to determine the winner and face them. You just determine the Fatal 4-Way and face the winner.
Yeah, but see, all these people became, all these people are contenders.
That's what I'm saying, have a Fatal 4-Way.
So you're going to face one person.
Yes. I'll face a fucking 4.
Yeah, okay. Just pick it. So, first of all, pick. We're Triple H and Kurt Angle. So, you can pick anyone but yourself.
Okay. How many?
So, as many as possible. So, pretty much, so half it. So, count all the names on the list and then half it. So then, the other half will be mine. Okay? From Raw, it's Michael Cole, Byron Saxton, Corey Graves. And on the Raw side, we have one of the main events, we have the new Universal Champion Brock Lesnar defending against former champion Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, Goldberg, and we're going to crown a number 1 contender for the Universal Championship in this opening contest right now. But a bit of history going into this matchup. On SmackDown a couple days ago, Kurt Angle lost the Universal Championship to Brock Lesnar, who issued his quote-unquote rematch for the Universal Championship. Sorry guys, I'm just looking through my notes here. Both Angle and Lesnar were in the championship scramble match on SmackDown, as it looked like Brock Lesnar was aiming to become the official Universal Champion, as he was the champion, the current champion to begin with in that matchup, pinning Roman Reigns, quickly squashing him in the opening round as more superstars started to come in. All those stars, also former Universal Champions AJ Styles, Goldberg, Undertaker, all joining in that matchup. And it looked like close to the end of the match, Kurt Angle was outside the ring, and Brock Lesnar capitalized when Lesnar hit an F5. It looks like Kurt Angle came in the ring, rushed into the ring, and came to pick up the pieces as Lesnar gave Kurt Angle the Universal Championship and gave him the win, as Brock was going to pin Roman Reigns, but he gave it to Kurt Angle, so that's why Lesnar gave Kurt Angle a receipt for his win and attacked him during a 5-on-3 handicap match, winner take all, and quickly swiping the Universal Championship away from Angle. Now, Cole, let's talk about how this match came about. Alright, guys. Well, it's simple. Roman Reigns became the Universal Champion on SmackDown just days after the Fastlane pay-per-view, who we thought was Goldberg. Then the lights went out. The lights were blacked down, and out came Roman Reigns spearing the Universal Champion Undertaker at the time, and swiped his Universal Championship, giving him a taste of his own medicine. We thought was Goldberg giving him a taste of his own medicine with the lights out, but he wasn't. AJ Styles, who took the Universal Championship away from Goldberg just 8 days after the Royal Rumble pay-per-view on Raw, as Goldberg fought a contender in AJ. At Fastlane 6 days later, Undertaker finally captured the Universal title in a triple threat match versus AJ and Goldberg. Taker, who was a part of a five-way match versus Triple H, Kane, Goldberg, and Strowman, who was granted a match on Raw, failed to capture that Universal title that night. Goldberg facing the game, Triple H at the pay-per-view, taking the title away from him, taking the title and becoming our first inaugural Universal Champion. That match suddenly turned into a 5-way despite the odds. Goldberg retained his title twice in one night, having fought 2 grueling matches. Goldberg won that Universal title and became our first inaugural champion. Triple H faced Triple H at the Rumble. Facing him, Vince, Mark Henry, The Miz, and even Stephanie McMahon in a 24-hour rule, thanks to Vince McMahon, who put Goldberg in that 24-hour rule matchup. Nathan. It can be defended and won any time throughout the night. Kurt Angle won a number one contender Universal Championship tournament to become the number one contender for then champion Roman Reigns' Universal title at some point, facing off Roman Reigns, issuing a challenge to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania after winning that title from the dead man. Heyman siding with Roman Reigns to blackmail Brock. And then on Raw a couple of days ago, Reigns defended his title against Brock Lesnar, who he faced and defeated in a monumental gore, one of the most brutal match types in company history. Reigns stepping on the Beast's toes, issuing him a challenge, may have come back to bite his ass. The two of them being a part of a 6-man elimination tag on Raw last week, winner take all. Lesnar finally captured the Universal title from Reigns when they're first off, then had one more chance in another 6-man elimination tag rematch on Raw, but was a no-show. Obviously wanted no part of it. Jim Bischoff then making a Mania 5-man scramble main event preview, pinning Lesnar and Reigns for a third time in 2 weeks in the same match together. Of course, both men losing as Angle came out of the blue. 1 minute remaining into the matchup, pinning Reigns. It looked like Lesnar gave that title to Kurt, as we spoke about before. As Lesnar, after an F5, scored the current champion position over Reigns, the two starting the matchup. So that's a bit of history for that matchup. We send it to JR King, and Taz over on SmackDown. Thank you, Cole. The WWE Whatever Championship is another main event for WrestleMania, which is one of the 2 main events for this week, for this pay-per-view. As I need to find it. Well, this past week on Raw, it was Edge who was then the WWE Whatever Champion, defending his championship in a 3-way matchup against Kane and Braun Strowman. As we are aware, elimination rules in every multi-man matchup. The Ultimate Liberty is back against the wall, left fighting off 2 monsters in Kane and Strowman. Kane looking for his first of 3 future world title reigns on his resume, while Braun has having never held a title of any kind here in WTE, looking to demolish Edge, the then world champion, in that match. Only one of the two behemoths could add a world title reign to their impressive resumes. Edge spearing Kane despite being chokeslammed through a table, surviving and spearing Strowman and the Demon at the same time, and Edge getting a little too excited and forgot the rules of the matchup. He didn't know who to pin, so he decided to pin both men. Thus, both Kane and Strowman being added to that matchup at WrestleMania. You gotta pin one man, JR. One man. Yes, I know, King. So Edge retained that title, and then Ted Long came out and announced that this match, instead of a fatal 4-way, will now be a fatal 5-way at WrestleMania. So now the Radio Superstar had quadruple trouble. Goldberg and Jericho, two of the men who were in the number contender fatal 4-way last week on SmackDown, featuring Strowman, the third combatant in that match, placed in by Ted Long. As a result of no contest, Edge pinning Strowman and Goldberg in that match at the same time, as well, like he did on Raw with Kane and Strowman. Braun, who already had a title opportunity, now had another title opportunity to take the world title. Kane, a part of the contender bout as well. Strowman's nemesis, who rivaled recently with Kane, was Kane. Kane demolished Strowman in an unsanctioned match at Fastlane. Two men constant wars over the US title, neither one able to walk away champion and take the title from then champion, the Apex Predator Randy Orton, who's no longer champion, thanks to yours truly. Four men have a massive opportunity to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Goldberg, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, last holding that title at Fastlane last year. On SmackDown, Jericho had his unfortunate one last shot at regaining the WWE World Heavyweight title this past week. Failed a third time. Edge 3 over Jericho. Jericho tried to sabotage Edge's title match at Raw, attacking the champion, though Edge retained, sticking it to Y2J. Kevin Nash, who became the number one contender 2 weeks ago on SmackDown via disqualification thanks to Kane getting involved. Edge getting disqualified and losing thanks to the Demon's interference, costing Edge a win. Y2J came out and tried to hold the show hostage this past week on SmackDown, playing mind games with the Ultimate Opportunists, calling him out as Edge was getting ready for a title defense against Kevin Nash. Out comes the World Champion, attacking Jericho, spearing him outside the ring, taking himself out of the match, injuring himself, rendered unable to defend those titles. So now he was stripped off him by Ted Long, deemed unfit and unable to defend. Undertaker, who came out of the blue from the darkness, the lights went out, gongs tolled, and he was here when the lights went out. When the lights came back on, we see Undertaker holding Kevin Nash upside down, tipped upside down, and drove him on his head with a pile driver. Easy pickings, taking the strap and becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Then faced Kane, his demonic brother, who issued a challenge after interfering in the US title match with Christian, who put himself in the US title match versus then champion Randy Orton, and then the number one contender Jack Swagger, who's been rivaling with Orton for the past few weeks, threatening to snap the Phenom's undefeated pay-per-view streak here at WrestleMania. Taker successfully defended the title, though Edge, former world champion, that never lost the title, stripped away from him due to injury, got himself involved in that matchup